Welcome, everybody. Hearing those three welcomes, of course, means that you've stumbled upon the Next Man Up Sportscast with me, your host, Chooch. And of course, with me, as always, the co-host extraordinaire, my older brother, Mandy. And of course, we got with us behind the scenes and stepping in front of the camera a little bit more and more now that we've got him out of his Koopa shell. We got Mo, the producer, aka McPan90 on Twitch. Make sure you get that boy a follow. But anyway, we left off, Mandy, talking about, we were talking about NFL, but we didn't really do a Super Bowl preview, right? So what we're going to do today on our first, in the first part of the show is we're going to do a Super Bowl recap, okay? Obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are champions of the football world. Tom Brady secured his 7th ring in 10 tries. Truly GOAT status. Truly GOAT status, right? But really, the story of the game, yes, part of the story was, Tom Brady played okay. Yeah, I think he threw for maybe 210 yards at the most. But because the story of the game was the Buccaneers' defense. They were all over Patrick Mahomes. He was running for his life almost the whole game. I know losing Eric Fisher and the other starting tackle was rough on them. But that Buccaneers defense was fast, physical, and they just really dominated the Kansas City Chiefs offense in every facet of the game. Even, a guy like Tyreek Hill did really nothing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, it's hard for Tyreek Hill to do something when usually he's running 50 yards down the field, right, one-on-one with someone. The Tampa Bay is running a two-man deep zone. He couldn't get open. And then you have four-man rush, right? And Patrick Mahomes at a four-man rush literally has 2 seconds, and he has a scramble. So, hey, shout out to that Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, Todd Bowles was he was awesome. He called a great game. But my only issue with that, right, is Todd Bowles called a great game, had a 4-man pressure, got pressure, all that stuff. But like you said, Tyreek Hill still running 50 yards down the field. Why didn't the Chiefs adjust their game plan, start throwing some Jared Goff-esque passes, some slants and drags?
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. Because which team, led by which quarterback, made that Tampa Bay defense look real elementary? Jared Goff and the Rams, baby. Put like 38 points against them.
Yeah, and I just didn't understand why the Chiefs made 0 adjustments even after they went into the half down 9-21. I know Patrick Mahomes isn't a West Coast quarterback, but they needed to start throwing some screen passes. They needed to start throwing some shorter routes because obviously, like you said, he had 2 seconds to throw, and it was bad. It was real bad.
Hey, I guess you know what? A lot of people were giving a lot of these teams who are looking for head coaches were giving a lot of heat because they didn't hire the
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, right, Bieniemy, right? The OC of the Chiefs. Maybe they knew something. Maybe they knew why. Look, he laid an egg in the playoff. Yes, the whole season he did very well, but how much is that of Andy Reid and the biggest game of the year? You laid an egg and you made no adjustments.
Yeah,
kind of interesting. I don't know.
That's true. I didn't think about that at all, but you could place a little bit of blame on Bieniemy for sure. And yeah, a lot of people have been saying that it's ridiculous he hasn't got a head coaching job. At the same time, I still think it is because he did take, they still did win a Super Bowl last year, and they made adjustments at halftime last year, and they ended up beating the 49ers, down a lot. And they also won all those games down by 10 or more. You know what I mean? So,
also, what you also have to remember, so our fans out there, being a coach, it's not really about X's and O's most of the time. It's all about mindset, having a healthy mindset. And of all those people on the field, who was in the worst mindset? Andy Reid. Why? His son is possibly facing jail time.
That's true. Yeah.
Or manslaughter. His son possibly killed a 5-year-old girl for being, I'm not saying high, but he was, intoxicated. Adderall. Yeah. So he was running. That happened on Thursday, and on Sunday he was a Super Bowl. He wasn't in the right mindset. And Andy Reid is a co-author of this Chiefs offense. So
that's true.
Mindset.
The Chiefs. That's another fantastic point. I honestly didn't think about that. And another story I think that is wonderful for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really do, and this needs to be known by more people. Is that look at the guys who were on the edge rushers for that team. Jason Pierre-Paul, a throwaway guy that the Giants didn't want anymore after he had that accident with his finger, right? And then you had Shaq Barrett. Yes, he led the league in sacks last year, but where was Shaq Barrett before that? Do you know?
Giants?
No, he was with the Denver Broncos, backing up Von Miller, and the Broncos decided to spend their money on Shane Ray, a guy who they literally cut the very next year instead of giving Shaq Barrett $2 million. That's all he wanted, right? Tampa Bay takes the deal with him, and what does he do? He goes 20 sacks the following season, and now he was in Patrick Mahomes' face the whole entire game. You know, he was great. Like, he was great, and so was JPP. So shout out to those guys on the edge. Shout out to those. You're
missing another heavy hitter on that.
Oh, and absolutely. The big guy out of Nebraska finally seems to have found a home where he's just been floating around the league forever.
He would have found a home with the Rams. The Rams absolutely loved him, but they couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
The Rams. He was, Aaron Donald's, mentor, you could say. Because remember, for 1 year, they were on the same team.
True.
Unfortunately, in Ndamukong Suh, they had to choose. Do they go with the veteran and pay him this, or pay this rookie second-year guy who's absolutely amazing named Aaron Donald? They made a good choice of going to Aaron Donald, but they wanted to keep Ndamukong Suh.
Absolutely.
They couldn't afford him. Hey, shout out to Ndamukong Suh. Even though you're kind of a dirty player, you got that Super Bowl, baby.
I like dirty players, though, man. I was a big fan of like Vontaze Burfict and guys like Ndamukong Suh. I just like the fact that they play with a little bit of an edge where everyone's so nice to each other now in sports. I like the guys that Burfict was a little bit dirtier than most people, but I really like the guys who play with an edge, and I feel like those guys definitely do. You can say the same thing about Suh. Didn't he step on Aaron Rodgers' nuts or something like that? So Yeah, so definitely those guys, I think they're a little bit too much of an edge. I do also want to I want 30 seconds to talk about how phenomenal those Tampa Bay Buccaneer linebackers were. And the thing is, linebacker play does not get respected. It doesn't get talked about very much in the NFL. Devin White and Levante David wrecked the game. Absolutely wrecked the game. Yes, Travis Kelce got his. He got 9 catches, 117 yards. But beyond, like, he made some catches, got some first downs, but he felt like a no factor. And those guys were the ones that were guarding him. Those guys were shutting him down. They stopped really the run. The Chiefs ran for 70 yards with Clyde Edwards-Helaire on really like late in the game stuff. Patrick Mahomes broke the pocket, but these guys were athletic and they were great. They played phenomenal. They were running coast to coast faster than the running backs. So big ups to Levante David, a guy who was kind of forgotten about, and Devin White, a big rookie out of LSU. Big ups to those guys. Congratulations.
Quick shout out to my guy. You brought up Patrick Mahomes. You didn't have a good game, but guess what, my guy? In the first quarter, you allowed me to hit my prop bet on the Super Bowl.
Patrick Mahomes, rushing yards.
Patrick Mahomes over 24 yards rushing. Got that the whole game.
He destroyed that.
First quarter. Yep. But guess what though? He didn't get any more after the first quarter. So hey, thank you.
I had Gronkowski over 2.5 receptions cashed by the first half. So
half of them were touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our Super Bowl recap. I know I'm not particularly happy that Brady won. I am kind of happy somebody knocked off Mahomes. I was kind of tired of the whole seeing his face everywhere. My team's in the AFC West. We got to see this guy twice a year. Kind of happy somebody knocked him off. Did it have to be Tom Brady? I wish it didn't, but hey, it is what it is. He's the GOAT.
Hey, how about Tom Brady on his Super Bowl yacht parade? Who was drunk?
Wasted. He was white boy wasted, and I'm sure Gronk was too. So yeah, they were gone, and well deserved. If you got to let loose once a year to celebrate like that, big ups to those guys. We'll see what the Bucs end up doing next year. Brady says he's coming back. We'll see what happens. If I'm him, I leave now. I got my 7th ring. No one's ever done that. Peace. I'm gone. So, but we'll see. He says he's coming back. I'm sure if he comes back, a lot of the other guys will come back, and the Bucs will attract even more free agents to come next year. So, second topic, Mandy. We talked about Brady. He's definitely the GOAT, right? He's a GOAT. Tom the GOAT. And on the other side, in the NBA, we have one of those guys too who has a transcendent career, and we're getting to watch the greatness of him, right? My question to you is, at age 36, will the ageless LeBron James capture the coveted MVP award in the NBA?
I mean, that's way harder to do in the NBA than NFL. Because in the NBA, to win the MVP, you got to be a two-way player. You got to play offense. You got to play defense. In the NFL, you are just a position player.
Right.
Even though, yeah, you are playing quarterback, but still, you're just doing one. You're doing a position, right? You're not playing both ways. That being said, I think it's. I mean,
let me give you this. Let me give you some stats real quick before you decide. Okay. Let me give you some stats. LeBron right now is averaging 25, 8, and 8. Okay.
Oh no.
He's shooting 49.5% from the field and 39% from 3. Okay. Yeah. A couple of the other MVP frontrunners. These are their stats. Okay. Keep in mind what LeBron's were. Steph Curry, who I actually predicted would win it, is I think, kind of there. 29 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 48 from the field, 42% from 3. Nasty. Joel Embiid, another guy who I love, 29, 11, and 2, shooting 54% from the field and 37 from 3. He's a big guy, then, not as great. Here's an interesting one, okay? And I think this is LeBron's biggest competition. Nikola Jokic, averaging 26 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, shooting 56% from the field and 40% from 3.
So look,
that's pretty good.
Well, those are all great stats, right? Now, what I was going to say is the fact that, look, if LeBron James wins the MVP award at 36 years old, no, without a doubt, that is amazing. That is way. Oh, no, that's just, you cannot compare LeBron winning MVP right now to Tom Brady, winning the Super Bowl MVP. You can't compare it. Right. No way, no how. That achievement by LeBron is just amazing. Head over heels, amazing, right? But does that elevate him to GOAT status? No, man. I mean, come on. Compared to Tom Brady is the GOAT of all sports. He's the greatest of all time, right? You can't really compare that, man, by LeBron winning the MVP. Oh, yeah. He could go ahead and, and surpass Tom Brady or be in the name of, a competition of GOAT status. No. But for an individual achievement, I think that's one of the highest achievements anyone has ever achieved at 36 years old. That's utterly amazing. Because, again, he has to play offense and defense. Yeah. And the names you said, he's competing against guys who are 30 years old, 25 years old. Basketball is a young man's sport. But LeBron, keep doing your thing, baby. Bring that ring to L.A.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Vegas has him as the odds-on favorite to actually win the award.
All the stats said, I think the one closest, you're right, I think Jokic is the one who's LeBron 1, Jokic 2, and Embiid 3. I think hands down.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were going to pick a guy to be nipping at his heels, it's got to be Nikola Jokic. And there's something about Jokic, and there's something, same thing with Giannis, right? I think Jokic has a much better skill set than Giannis. I'm going to say that now. But there's something about those two guys that's kind of unwatchable. Like, the other night, Jokic dropped 50 and lost. And I wasn't interested. I started to watch the Nuggets game and I was like, this is boring basketball. And as good as scoring 50 in the game was, and almost leading his team to a win, it was kind of unwatchable. And I felt the same way about Giannis when he was playing the Suns last night. And for a while there, the Bucks were running away with it. And then the Suns, and that was the exciting part of the game. I started watching because the Suns went like a 40-17 run, came back, and that's what was exciting. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, those guys were getting me hyped. And then Giannis comes down the court, they give him the ball, he goes back to the basket, turns around, and Crowder's guarding him, and all he does is lay the ball up and get fouled. And it's like, this is not exciting basketball. I don't know. There's just something about Jokic and Giannis that's just, I don't want to tune in. I don't really care. I know what they're going to do, and I don't really care to watch it. But when LeBron's right there in double overtime against the Pistons, knocking down 3 threes in a row, and he's right there, against the Thunder 2 nights in a row in OT, I want to watch that. Or Curry's hitting 11 threes. That's pretty exciting. Embiid's going for 50 and getting 20 boards. Sign me up. I want to watch that stuff. So there's something about that tune-in factor that I think that's going to put LeBron over the edge, or like someone like Embiid or Curry over the edge when it comes to, a little bit later in the season. I think you're right. I think LeBron could win the MVP, and it'd be monumental for his career at the age that he's at, things like that. It just shows that he has a lot of time left, I think, in the NBA, and who knows? We might see him pair up with Bronny Jr. at some point. It's possible. It is very possible. But with that being said, Mandy, we used to have our lock and underdog segments, and honestly, that's a great segment. And if you still want to lock an underdog, please shoot us a DM and we will cook up something for you. But more recently, we have got our boy Mo into the betting game. He's getting a little bit of skin in the game. He's trying to understand stuff a little bit more, but he still needs our help.
Yeah, it's funny because Mo, we have a little group chat. I love it, Mo. I love it. Mo's always texting me, texting us. Hey, look, I got this. I pulled up this information. I got this parlay going. Yeah. Look at it. It's cool.
0 for 5.
No, he hit a couple. But
yeah.
They're like $2 to win like 15. Like, come on.
Hey, come on.
But you know what?
Come on.
You know what? I started that betting challenge to try to turn 50 into 500. Currently, we're sitting at almost 150. And I got to tell you, sometimes it's not all about the purse, at the end of it. It's about the consistent winning. So, with that being said, Mo, I know you got some questions for us, and we're here to give you some parlay advice. Another day, another parlay. What you got?
All right, like Mandy said, we have that group chat, that group text, and I've been pretty hyped up to see these see these parlays, and it's just chasing that dub that like you said, it's
Hey,
let's get that.
It's not chasing the dub. It's chasing that high. That high of winning.
True.
That high of going into overtime and that's what.
If you guys got to see that last episode or 2 episodes ago that Chooch and Mandy picked the 4 winning teams, I dropped $20 or $30 and I won $184. So for me, that's huge. And it just I dropped it.
Describe to the audience, Mo, how that felt to hit your first parlay of your lifetime, throwing 30 and then coming out the end 180. How did that feel? How did that feel inside?
That was pretty fucking great, I gotta say.
Right?
I think, Mo, you could compare that to one other thing in your life, right?
Shaking
hands.
First
time that you
sneezing.
Yeah.
Shaking hands.
Yeah, the first time.
Great. But Mo, what you got for us, buddy?
All right, so I've been doing my research by checking out people who have been consistent, but following people who have been consistent sometimes leads to their days where they're inconsistent. So again, let's go. Right now we're 1-0 with the picks that we did so far.
Sure.
So I'm gonna give you games, matchups from this coming Sunday for Valentine's Day games. So 4 games and same thing, just your opinion, who you think's gonna win, why. And let's start off with Memphis and Sacramento, the Grizzlies and the Kings.
Wow, this is actually this one's a very interesting matchup because both these teams are playing really well right now. Well,
yes,
they're playing good for who they are.
Memphis destroyed our parlay a couple days ago when they beat the Charlotte Hornets.
Well, that's the Hornets. I don't know why you guys decided to take the Hornets. You should have asked me. I would have told you not to take the Hornets because Memphis with Ja Morant is a very different team than Memphis without Ja Morant, and he's been healthy. And with all that being said, I still would like the Kings in this one. I would see that the Kings are underdogs, so they're probably going to get, I would say, 1.5 to like 3.5 points. I think the Kings will win outright, but I would take them with the points. De'Aaron Fox has been playing lights out this year. The Kings as a team are a little bit, I think, more cohesive. I can see them winning this game. It's going to be a close one either way. But as a little tidbit, I hate betting NBA. Like, I really hate betting NBA. So I usually only bet it live. But if I had to choose a team, I would go with the Kings. Mandy.
That's cute. I don't like betting NBA, man.
It's so inconsistent.
Look, I think yes, the Kings are the better team and whatnot. They have more team unity. But I think you gotta go to the Grizzlies, man. For the one game, then John Moran, he's a special kid. Like you said, they're a different team with John Moran on the court. And you know what? I think they could be probably favorites this game. You gotta go ahead and just go with John Moran and the Memphis Grizzlies to go ahead and pull this one out.
All right.
No stats needed. You just gotta go with the team that you think's gonna win. All right, Mo?
The eyeball test.
Okay.
The eyeball test.
Eyeball test. All right, this next one, because the last time I brought it up, Manny's like, the Lakers, the dub, LeBron. Next one, Lakers, Denver. They went OT, double OT on their.
They went double OT, then overtime, and then another overtime with teams that are really bad.
Yeah.
But that is all because Anthony Davis wasn't playing and he wasn't healthy. That being said, if he's healthy, you probably want to lean Lakers. If he's not, the Nuggets will win.
Where's the game at?
Denver.
I'm going to go Denver.
Go Nuggets. Yep.
The reason why I'm going to go Denver, I think there's a lot of minutes on LeBron's legs. I think that playing up in Denver at the high altitude will give the Lakers a good excuse to maybe sit LeBron down for a game or, to get him catch his breath a little bit.
Not rush Anthony Davis back from injury.
Right. Who wants to play in a mile-high city, right? I say just go ahead and just, relax, take it off, right? I think this is a game where if you can, get it early before I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it could happen. I'll go ahead and take the Denver. Yeah, I'll take Denver.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 100%. And like we said, Jokic is probably the second best player in the NBA right now. So definitely one of those teams you want to ride while they're hot.
Okay. Third, Cleveland and the Clippers. Because Cleveland has been up and down from the parlays that I've done. It's either win or lose, win or lose, win or lose. Even if they're the one that's expected to lose.
Cleveland is very roller coaster.
Yep.
A roller coaster team. Sexton has had some bad games recently. I think the Clippers are too guard heavy, and they have the defensive prowess to go ahead, a tenacious defense to go ahead and shut down Sexton and those Cavaliers. I think I'll go Clippers for sure. Clippers money line. Yeah. Maybe even go spread. I'm guessing the spread might be like -8 or 9.
Might be like 10 points. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Clippers are going to get them pretty good.
I would agree with Mandy. I think this is why NBA right now, especially with COVID, is something that you have to check on day of. You could like somebody days out, but you got to check it day of, because what if Kawhi Leonard doesn't play, if Paul George decides not to play on some load management BS, I would probably take the Cavs with the points because they score a lot. Andre Drummond's a great player. Kevin Love is actually back from injury. So, it's one of those things where if the Clippers are healthy, yes, always take the Clippers in that matchup. But if some COVID crap keeps them out or they're on some load management BS, I would take the Cavs with the points. So
agreed.
You got to wait to the day of, but consensus with the healthy Clippers would be to take the Clippers in that matchup.
Oh, sure.
Right. And final one, fourth one, San Antonio Spurs versus the Charlotte Hornets. Both of these teams, same thing, flip-flop.
Yep, let me take this one, Mandy. I think what you have here is two teams very, very different styles, very contrasting styles. And Popovich and his Spurs are always known for being very disciplined, not very mistake-heavy basketball. The Hornets are just the opposite. They turn the ball over a ton. They're very young. They make a lot of mistakes. And I think a team like the Spurs would be able to capitalize off of that. I would take the Spurs in this matchup. I think it still ends up being close because the Hornets shoot really well from beyond the arc, keep games close. Gordon Hayward's a solid player. But I would take the San Antonio Spurs, especially I think Aldridge should be back by then too, and that just makes them better.
Look, simple. Never bet against the Spurs, against a mediocre team. Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all time. No, just go ahead and take the Spurs. Take the Spurs.
Take the Spurs.
All right. So it looks like you guys.
So give me a recap. What's that 14 parlay looking like?
14 parlay. Memphis, Sacramento. You guys picked the Kings.
Well, Mandy went with Memphis, so we could put in two different ones to see who wins.
Okay. So Mandy goes Memphis and Chooch goes Kings.
Kings.
Lakers versus Denver. You guys picked the Nuggets. Denver
Going
Nuggets. The next one was Cleveland and Clippers. You guys went Clippers.
Yep.
And then the Spurs versus the Hornets. You guys got the Spurs.
Exactly. So that I'm thinking that parlay sits us at about, what you think, Mandy, like +3, +400 or so?
Sure.
But depending on how long these money lines are, it might be even more. So we'll see. I think, and like I said, I think I'm gonna go with the Kings, who's probably gonna be underdogs. So I might get a little bit of a boost on that parlay, hoping to get Mo another, trying to like repop that cherry, basically, trying to get him another parlay dub,
Hey,
so that way he can get number
I got
two.
that. I got that about 8 years ago. Don't trip.
so he could get that second parlay dub to
Chasing the dragon.
keep my guy in the betting game, because I know better than anybody. Sometimes when you get that, put that first deposit in and you lose it, it's like, man, I got to retire for a little minute here. Yeah. So you definitely got to be one of those things where we got to keep Mo in the game, get him some skin, get him some wins here. But
just to clear it up, Chuchi, you picked Kings?
Sacktown. Yes, sir.
All right. So Chuchi's going with Sacramento. So these are the picks for Valentine's Day, February the 14th. So if you need to lock them in, make sure you lock those in on that day. If it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, that's because I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's 100% facts. Thank you, Mo, for your questions and opinions on betting. Again, this is great for all you novice bettors that don't know. We treat Mo like he's a child in betting, and we try to guide him the right way. So make sure you're listening for these tips. We'll have some instructional videos coming out soon. We've had some issues with scheduling, but we will get those out to you quickly. But at the end of our betting segment, Mandy, typically that means what?
Man, we're bringing it back, baby. I gotta work my connects, and we got it, man. We got a special guest. We got my boy Luke Felix, a modern day graduate, offensive lineman. Big Luke Felix from Australia, the land down under, right? He's from modern day graduate. He's attending the University of Utah, playing Division I football. Big Luke stands about 6'7", 6'8", 6'8". You know, I don't know how much he weighs, but he's a big boy. He's a big guy. He is a redshirt freshman last year with Utah. They were graduating some linemen. So, you know, he might be the next man up on that tenacious, always strong Utah Utes offensive line with that power running game. So he's our guest this week. Let's go ahead, baby. Introduce our guy, Luke Felix.
That's right. Next Man Up International.
So my guy, Big Luke, right here out of Utah, my guy. So Luke, just real quick, man. First of all, you got to tell us your background, because you know you're not American. You're not from America. You're from a different part of the world. So tell us, where you're from and how you ended up playing football in Los Angeles.
So I was born in Brisbane, Australia, and that's where I grew up my whole life. I moved to America when I was 17. But before I came to America, I think the first time I saw American football was probably in the movie The Blind Side. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a funny looking sport. And then I actually saw I caught one college football like state championship game or something. It was Oklahoma Sooners and Oklahoma State, and I was like, this thing looks weird. And then after watching it, then I had no idea that I'd end up playing that game. But I found a little bit of interest in it. I joined a club called the Sunshine Coast Spartans. It was like a little 9-man club, something small, but it was my first introduction. And from there, I found my passion. And then I found Dave Tuanave, which was my coach, kind of like trained me up, and he had connections to America. And yeah, I trained with him for a few months and managed to get connected to Cathedral High School somehow. And then I got shipped out to America, and yeah, that's. And
then you got shipped out to America and landed in the front row of Room 202, U.S. history, with this guy, Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah.
And by the way, Luke was in my worst class. This is my 6th year at Cathedral.
Oh,
Luke was
the one with Stefan Wright?
Yes, with Stefan. Yes. You're in that class right with Luke with Stefan?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that class, that was my worst class in 6 years of Cathedral. Sixth period, U.S. history. It was awful. It was awful.
It was definitely entertaining.
So Luke, what age did you start playing American football? And what sports did you play before that?
Before I played football, I did swimming and I played rugby. And I joined the club when I was that club in Australia when I was about 15. But when I came to America when I was 17, that's like really when I pretty much started actually playing the game and learning it properly and all that.
Right. What position did you start playing, and then what position are you playing now?
Because it was just a 9-man club. They only had like a guard, but then I came and learned to be a tackle, offensive tackle.
Right. Okay.
Because I remember Luke coming to Cathedral again. Like, he came out also with one of his buddies, right? Ben Key.
Yeah, Ben Key.
At the University of Missouri. But you guys are raw, like super raw. We didn't know if you guys were going to be a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, right? We were like, oh, was you? But I think you were more tackle because you're taller, more lanky, right? You have longer arms, and I think we were going to make you a tackle. But your stint at Cathedral was actually only for one semester, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we can't blame you, man. You, I guess, when people saw that big 6'7" frame of yours, right? I mean, tell us what happened next. Where did you end up going next? And I think it was a great decision, but where did you go?
What's the deal?
So my host family was moving to Mater Dei, and since I was my host family, I just went along with them, and they brought me along.
And what did you learn at Mater Dei?
I have a question. I'm just kind of interested. Do you think you had because there's kids who grow up in America and are playing tackle contact sports football from the age of 7 years old up until high school, stuff like that. Do you think it was kind of to your advantage not learning the game until you were 15, 16 years old, when you were already a little bit more mature and filling out that frame?
I think somewhat yes, because I think someone explained this to me. I didn't grow up learning all the bad habits that kind of solidified growing up. And I guess a background in rugby and swimming kind of helped with the athleticism and just playing other sports, having another sport background kind of helped.
Nice.
But yeah, something, yeah.
Cool. So talk to us. So right now, you went from Cathedral, then Mater Dei, and on Mater Dei, I saw your videos. You blew up, doing your little lineman drills, and Luke Felix was the next, big phenomenon. And you actually ended up at University of Utah, correct?
Yeah. But sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead.
I actually ended up only playing one game, and then having this rest of my season was canceled because CIF, having some weird rules with international students, because our high school starts in 7th and 8th grade, and they counted that. And they said I was over the game clock, some kind of clock.
Your 8th semester clock, which to be honest, we didn't even know at Cathedral. When we found out, we said, "Oh shit, we could have got in trouble." So we didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
it worked out, right? Because you still got a D1 scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully. Utah definitely stuck with me on that one, and I'm grateful for it.
So talk to us. How is it playing at Utah? What is it like playing for your coaches and the atmosphere over there?
It's amazing. I love the team. It's a big family environment, with the boys. You just get along with everyone really well. Coach Harding's a great coach. All the coaches there are great coaches, the strength coaches, every other position coach. They're all there to help you succeed really well. And definitely on the offense side of things, Coach Ludd is like a offensive wizard, and his type of offense and the things I just learned from being in that offense, it's really not just changed my just technique side of things through Coach Harding, but Coach Harding also has a great understanding of how offenses work. And then just that together over the past year of kind of settling in with Coach Ludwig's offense, my football IQ has just gone up just a lot from being in that environment. And I've come a long way since I first saw football in a movie to actually playing it.
And that's kind of funny that the first movie you saw was The Blind Side, and that was a movie about a left tackle, and now look at you playing tackle. So you kind of emulated what you saw. That's kind of cool. My question is, I know you went to Modern Day Cathedral. You saw DNs there. Modern Day definitely a different echelon of really good potential D1 athletes in Cathedral. Have you got into action like with other D1 defensive ends, running drills or playing games against them yet? How has that been so far for you? Or have you just been really doing practicing non-contact stuff?
The D line we have at Utah definitely give me a great look. When I first got there, I got blessed a lot, and just being able to go against such a great defense just makes me a better player in general. I've only played a few downs in the Idaho State game in my redshirt freshman year. I'm yet to go against a lot of the big D1 players, so I'm excited for when my turn comes. I think in high school at some training camps, I went against some people. Can't remember their names. I remember seeing Drake Jackson, I think, at one of the primetime Polynesian camps and maybe one of the other football camps. And that was kind of like my kind of like exposure to other D1 DNs. But right now I just kind of go against the defensive lineup at Utah, and it's like super diverse. You have all these different types of DNs, different types of D tackles.
Sure. You
learn something new, like a different approach to how I'm supposed to take on this like specific type of defensive player opposed to other types, and then.
Right. So with that, you said specific types. So like if someone's a speed rusher, kind of like the guy who's just trying to get around you, not really overpower you, use some moves. What is your thing? Are you gonna like do a nice strong first punch, or are you getting back into your protective stance quicker, or how does that differ with like let's say a power rusher versus like a speed rusher?
So for my approach on the speed rushes, one thing Coach Harding has is something called beating them to the spot. Mm-hmm. Really, we're already in the position to win. There's like that's
right, knowing the snap count and stuff.
Yeah. There's that specific spot we got to beat them to, and just kind of sit back and not panic, and then it becomes a hands and feet battle just to kind of keep them away. But with power rushes, it's more like a sitting down and kind of pad level and using your leverage against them type thing, and making sure you're not squeezing the pocket and closing it down on the quarterback type stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it. How do you how does that give me the mindset of like a left tackle, right tackle? Because we see so often, Aaron Donald getting the big sack, or Von Miller getting the big sack, but nobody highlights how often offensive tackles win those matchups, and they do a really good job. How do you what's the mindset of you going into a game? Are you looking for like you're just trying to keep that quarterback upright? How does that work? How do you motivate yourself? Like when you've pounded a defensive end 15 times in a row, how do you keep that up? How do you keep that momentum going?
So my main motivation is the fear of losing, and the fact that I know that I literally can't lose. Like, I'll look at it this way: the D line, they can get beat, but they have linebackers and the secondary to stop the play. But for the offensive line, we don't have anyone out. The running back can be there, the QB can maybe run away, but for us, like we're literally not allowed to lose, and that thing out of my head, and like I literally can't lose. Like I just can't, or else my QB is going to get hurt. My running back's going to get tackled on the backfield. We can't move the ball, and that kind of thought and feeling in my head is what just drives me.
Nice,
absolutely.
So you mentioned earlier, Big Luke, that when it's your turn, the coaches got you ready. So I know you have a couple linemen, right, on the starting offensive line of Utah, graduating or moving on. So when is it your turn, Big Luke? Are you going to compete next season for some playing time?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep competing, but at the same time, I'm always going to understand when the upperclassmen are going to be the starters. I'm just going to be there to support them and be there still learning my play, still studying film, still getting better just in case someone goes down or something else happens. there's free time in the second half of the game. But yeah, I'm hoping a few years from now when people have graduated and I've kind of moved up in class that, be my time to shine. I'll wait patiently for it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and we're excited to see that, man. Really, we are. So let's move away from football a little bit because, most part of the show is people want to get to know you, right? So we kind of glanced over like you're from Australia. That's something huge. You know what I mean? It's something very different. You don't really come across somebody who lives in Australia every day. So tell me, like, what has been the biggest difference for you, like living there versus living here? Obviously, I know you got your family back there, things like that. You're here to work, go to school. But like, what has been one of the biggest differences? Maybe what has been the one thing that you like the most, and what has been the one thing that you like really miss from home?
The big difference, I guess, was just the culture in general, like American culture, and the different types of cultures that come here and stuff. And yeah, it's just like a whole new world. And when I first came, especially coming straight to LA, like I didn't really understand like, the LA type of person. Like I walk past in the hall, I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they'll just kind of like stare at me funny, like to me, or like you got something. Like, oh no, and then I kind of understanding that I was able to like kind of adjust my language and my mannerisms to like kind of fit certain people and stuff and kind of understand how they kind of work and kind of like mold into it so there weren't any kind of misunderstandings. But yeah, the main things I kind of miss from home would probably just be like my family, the landscapes, like the beach and the forest, and then maybe a lot of the food as well. I kind of miss.
So that being said, does the Utah vibe kind of fits your personality just a little bit better then?
Yeah, and especially since there's a lot of Polynesians there, it also makes me, because I'm also Polynesian, it makes me feel like more at home.
That's awesome. That's
so
awesome.
My question, Big Luke, is that I've had about 3 other former students of mine, gone to play D1 and whatnot. I always ask them this question. Now you might be a little bit different because you're only with me for 1 semester, all right? So think back to U.S. history. Oh, that 6th period class. What's one thing you remember me teaching you? Like, oh, I still remember that. If you can remember something, I don't know.
I remember Tecumseh and how everyone would change his name to something else.
Tecumseh, yeah.
That's probably the most memorable part.
Yeah. So for Luke, Luke has no knowledge of U.S. history, so he's just thrown in there to my U.S. history class. So I'm glad he remembered the famous Native American warrior Tecumseh, and he remembered it because obviously these kids, they made fun of his name for a different reason. I love it. Big Luke, man, I appreciate your time, man. It was great catching up with you, and hopefully, our fans can get a little knowledge about Big Luke in about a couple of years. When we watch a Utah game, hopefully, playing against UCLA, USC, we could go ahead and
maybe we'll see him. Maybe we'll see him playing ASU. Maybe you get a matchup with Stephon Wright over there.
Oh, that's right.
Another former guest.
That's right. That'd be pretty cool. All right. But hey, Big Luke, man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out and doing this for us. I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for having me.
There you have it, folks. An inside peek at the life of Big Luke over here. We're man. It's so crazy to think that less than really like a year of American football, and he's got himself a scholarship. That's how big, special, and talented this kid is. And you hear about this stuff all the time. I think it's Russell Okung, maybe from the Seattle Seahawks. Only played like a year of high school football, then played college, and now he's in the NFL. So Big Luke might be that guy. We're hoping he is. Like I said, and like Mandy said, he's from the land down under. He's Australian, and you know what? Next Man Up International, baby. We had people from Spain, Australia. We got all this stuff. The Philippines, Greece, Israel, all that good stuff. That's what we do here. We bring you the best content in sports here in the United States and everywhere we can. But, Mandy, after our guest, we typically get into the next segment known as Rapid Fire. Sports Trivia with Mandy and Chooch.
I'm
No
going
sponsor
first.
this week because you know what? We got the sponsorship was really enough for 2 weeks. So hopefully next week we really want to welcome in some small businesses, get y'all going because, hey, let's get the word out. Why not? But, Mandy, my question for you today, good sir.
Well, I wanted to go first, but go ahead.
This is how we roll. I go first so I can embarrass you and talk crap to you. So
That's what she said.
So I've got in front of me, I started thinking about Tom Brady and how many Super Bowl wins he had and his appearances.
Were you close on or off when you were thinking of Tom Brady?
I played the fifth, but so I have in front of me a list of 6 quarterbacks who are undefeated in the Super Bowl with at least 2 appearances. Can you name 5 of them? You can name 6. I'll give you the bonus.
Undefeated in 2 appearances?
Or more.
Oh, I'll go Troy Aikman.
Okay.
The more recent one is Eli Manning. Manning. Troy Aikman, Eli Manning. I don't know why I want to say John Elway.
Okay.
I'll go John Elway. Oh, let's go with that guy from the broadcaster from the Steelers. Crazy white boy. Terry Bradshaw.
Okay.
Terry Bradshaw. And let's go with, I don't know why I want to say Peyton Manning. Oh, no, I'll go Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. So John Elway certainly is not undefeated. He lost 3 times in the Super Bowl and has won 2, been to 5. So he won 2, lost 3, losing record in the Super Bowl, but still got 2 rings. Terry Bradshaw, 4-0 in the Super Bowl. 4-0. Then we had, you said Troy Aikman.
Yes.
3-0 in the Super Bowl. Big Troy Aikman. You said Eli Manning. Of course, the GOAT killer is 2-0 in the Super Bowl. You got 3 there. And then you said Brett Favre. He's 1-1 in the Super Bowl. Won 1, lost 1. Very, very close. I believe that was your 5, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And then the other couple undefeated guys, Joe Montana is also 4-0.
Oh, that's a good one.
Let's see. We got Bart Starr, 2-0. My guy, Jim Plunkett, 2-0. And those are all the undefeated quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
So I should have gotten Montana.
You 100% should have got Montana, yes. But you got 3 out of 5.
Is Steve Young 1-0 or?
Steve Young. He's not on my list, so he's probably 1-0. So this is multiple appearances. So yeah, he's probably 1-0.
Cool. So my question to you,
let's see.
Sticking with the theme of the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
I guess this constitutes a trivia question. Now I'm mixing in here Super Bowl and betting.
Okay.
For next year's Super Bowl, okay, give me the 5 teams. I'll give you 8.
Okay.
Okay. Of the 8 teams, give me 5, okay, that had the worst Super Bowl odds.
Oh, the worst? I thought you were going to
Worst.
say the best. Okay.
No, the worst.
Let's see. I'm going to go with number 1, probably the New York Jets.
The Jets.
I go with the Jaguars. They're pretty bad.
The Jaguars.
Let's go with the odds-wise. I guess you got to – no, they have a good defense. Carolina Panthers. We'll say them.
Panthers.
Not a good year for them either. We'll go with the New York Football Giants.
The New York Football Giants.
We'll go with Houston Texans. Got to be down there.
The Texans. All right. Okay, good. So, you said the Jets. Yes, they have the second worst odds. You said the Jaguars. They are tied with the second worst odds.
Nice.
And the Texans. Those 3 teams you got are all tied with the second worst odds. So you got 3.
Let's go.
You did say the Panthers, and believe it or not, the Panthers are actually middle of the pack.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't get why, but okay.
Yeah, and you said the New York Football Giants. They are actually number 1, 2, 3. They're number 7. So I guess it counts, right?
Yeah, you said bottom 8. Let's
You're
go.
right. I said bottom 7, but okay.
You said 8.
Okay, whatever. So you got 4 right. Okay, you got 4.
Boom! Another dub on rapid fire.
You actually missed the worst team is the Lions. And who's their quarterback?
Yeah, Jared Goff.
Yes.
Woo! Hey, my God, my hatred of Jared Goff is paying off, isn't it?
Yeah. And you also missed the Broncos and the Bengals.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. 100%.
Now, answer bonus question.
Bonus.
Who has the fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl next year?
This is a stupid question. I already know it. You literally asked it because it's the Rams.
Yeah, congrats, Chuchi. Number 4. You're amazing. You are amazing.
Nostradamus.
Wow.
Nostradamus over here. Nostradamus.
Yes,
it's like
Rams,
I knew.
The Rams have the better odds than the Bills, than the Ravens, the Saints, the Seahawks. It's amazing, man. Oh, they definitely have better odds than the Raiders. Wow, I would have thought.
You know, I saw that. The Chargers have better odds than we do. That made no sense to me at all.
Well, yeah. Look at the who would you rather have, Herbert or what's his name over there, Carr guy? Oh,
Big Derek Carr all day, every day. No doubt in my mind. Not even gonna think about that one. Stop it.
Yeah.
But Mandy, with that being said, we got some answers on those, right? And we're gonna learn from it. We're gonna take that away with us. With that being said, what is your takeaway for this week's show?
My takeaway for this week's show is fairly simple. All right. I don't know if we made it public or not, but us three, the three cojones here.
Yes.
We've had not dreams, but we've talked about having also a little spin-off of the Next Man Up to involve high school sports, right?
Indeed.
Especially out here in LA County. Well, unfortunately, oh man, there is no high school sports here, so we haven't been able to do our spin-off. But I think I smell it. Yeah, I smell it. I think high school sports are just around the corner for LA County, and yeah, I smell a spin-off coming for the Next Man Up, right? Mo and I will be on the boots on the ground. Chuchi will continue as a host through Zoom and through Skype and through video, and we're going to go ahead and bring you a little segment, high school North LA County, high school Next Man Up. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait, but come on, man. CIF, let's go, baby. Pull the trigger, make it happen. Let's go.
And if you're not excited about that as a fan, understand that in these high school arenas, everybody started here. Especially like in LA County and stuff, guys that I can remember off the top of my head, Robert Woods, the Ram from Sarah, Marquise Lee, Juju Smith-Schuster, all these guys, big names now that were highly touted prospects even in high school. We're going to bring you those guys. Without a doubt, we're going to bring you those guys. Mandy, my takeaway is a little bit different, okay? Because I just been really frustrated lately, like really, really frustrated lately. Before I get frustrated and talk about this real quick, I want to give a shout out to my niece. Happy birthday, Jade. Turning into the big 1-3. I miss you. I miss you very much, and I love you. And I want you to have a great birthday, and I can't wait to see you. But the thing that has got me upset, frustrated, mad, okay? Talking to my buddy, and he was telling me, he's like, bro, I was listening to, one of the ESPN First Take, I think it was. I was listening to Max Kellerman talk about things. And he said, bro, this man is a bum. He is terrible. He is not entertaining. I would much rather listen to Mandy and you on the Next Man Up Sportscast. It's way more entertaining. It's more fun. It's more in depth.
All I hear is,
But, so that's what I'm saying.
Hey, I love you, whoever you are.
My boy Kevin, he said, by the way, he recommended that we have us because his favorite moments are when Mandy addresses his haters. So he recommended that we have a segment called Dear Mandy to his haters. So
I like that.
We might have to get that in the works because Mandy does have a lot of haters out there.
Oh shit.
But what I'm saying is this, okay? Since I started doing this, I've really prided myself on working hard on things, bringing you statistics, bringing you really fresh, hot takes, things like that. My thing is, I don't want to just throw something on the wall and hope it sticks, okay? I got a problem with guys who do that. And I notice this more and more now since I was brought to my attention. I've always, watched ESPN and things like that, but now I'm watching it differently. For example, I was listening to Brandon Marshall, former player, right?
Former Bronco.
Yes, former Bronco, former Jet, former Bear, talking about Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson went on the Dan Patrick Show and was upset about, not having a say in the offensive coordinator, not having a say in personnel, stuff like that, right? But not a lot of quarterbacks do. So it's kind of a ridiculous thing. But he tells Brandon Marshall, without speaking to Russell Wilson, without doing any research on the situation, says, "Oh, Russell Wilson wants out of Seattle." Like, no, that's not the case. They drafted him, they love him there. He's gonna be a Seattle Seahawk probably the majority of his career. But for Brandon Marshall to go out there and just say something like that, to me, it's like it's gotcha. It's a little bit gotcha journalism.
Clickbait.
It's literally clickbait, and it's just lazy to me. And I'm just sick of guys like him, Skip Bayless, Max Kellerman saying ridiculous things. Like the other day, I this was last year. You said that Kawhi Leonard is a more clutch player than LeBron James will ever be. Ridiculous,
Stephen
right?
A. Smith ripped him a new butthole on that one.
That's what I'm saying. It blows up in his face, and like I can't stand these guys who they're supposedly top of the game and top journalists and all these things, but like have some journalistic integrity, please. Me and my brother here on our podcast, we don't get as many views as First Take, but we do that here. So like I really need these guys to step their freaking game up, because otherwise Next Man Up Sportscast is on your heels, okay? We got fresh takes. We have journalistic integrity. Trust me, the show outlines, I don't do them in 5 minutes. They take me like multiple days to get done, okay? And then I bring them to Mandy and get his fresh take on things. And then what is good?
Do I get a copy of the outlines?
No.
No.
Never. Because you're not the host.
Oh yeah.
You're just the talent. He's just the talent, right? But that's my thing, is like these guys are in such a great position to be such good journalists and set a really great example and do some great stories, and they don't. They really don't. And one of the guys I think that was amazing at it is no longer with us anymore, and I want to spend the last 30 seconds to say, and one of the guys who really has done that in the past, and it's so heartbreaking to see him go so early at 53, Pedro Gomez.
Ooh. Beast, bro, beast.
Guys like Max Kellerman and Skip Bayless, when they do stuff like that, they insult reporters and journalists like Pedro Gomez, who boots on the ground, like you said, they're in he's in different countries talking to guys, interviewing them, interviewing their parents, and bringing us those amazing stories of guys from the Dominican, guys from Cuba, guys from Mexico. And a guy like Brandon Marshall can't pick up the phone and call Russell Wilson to get his opinion on things about what he said? Ridiculous to me. So rest in peace, Pedro Gomez. We love you, and we love your work, and we hope that you're setting an example for guys in the future to be just like you. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week on the Next Man Up Sportscast.